The shape of power, how the American presidency changed a nation. The office is small, a single desk, a chair, a window that looks out over a city of promise. Yet across more than 2 centuries, that modest chamber has held a power unlike any other. The power to calm a nation, to send it to war, to bend history. How did a role created by men fearful of kings become the single most consequential institution in American life? This is the story of a changing nation, reflected-ish in the changing character of its presidency. From a leader who refused a crown to leaders who commanded the globe, we trace how power was shaped and how it reshaped us all. George Washington stood where the ancient world had crowned kings. He could have become a monarch in everything but name. Instead, he stepped down. That choice to relinquish power set the first precedent. The presidency is not a throne, it is a trust. The Constitution he swore to uphold intended checks, but it left unanswered how bold a president might become in practice. Washington's authority came as much from character and restraint as from constitutional language. His 2-term limit, his modesty, and his warnings about factionalism became the first lines in an unwritten American manual on executive behavior. The young republic tested its president against foreign crisis and internal contradiction. John Adams tested executive power with crisis management and, controversially, with the Alien and Sedition Acts. The tension between security and liberty surfaced in public debate. Then, Thomas Jefferson quietly bent the office to his will. The Louisiana Purchase was not spelled out in the Constitution, yet it doubled the nation overnight. Jefferson's gamble redefined presidential prerogative. Sometimes, bold action becomes the path to national expansion. The lesson? Restraint had limits. Necessity invited new practice. A precedent lost to fear of monarchy now shared the stage with a new precedent, pragmatic authority. Andrew Jackson came with a new assumption: the president as the direct representative of the people. He wielded the veto not as a narrow constitutional tool, but as a political weapon, a check on Congress and a signal to voters. Yet this expansion of power had darkness. Jackson's policy toward Native American nations culminated in forced removals. Power can be both popular and cruel. The office became more personal, the president more visible, more accountable, and more dangerous. No crisis in American history tested the presidency like the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus, held political prisoners, and assumed powers that seemed almost monarchical. He justified these actions with an argument older than the Republic: the survival of the nation. Lincoln's presidency redefined executive necessity, moral purpose, married contentious authority. He argued that to preserve the Union and abolish a moral evil, extraordinary steps were required. Victory and emancipation followed. But the cost was immense: hundreds of thousands of lives and a presidency that would never be the same. The Civil War's lesson was stark. In the crucible of survival, the presidency could become the nation's agent for existential action. Theodore Roosevelt reshaped how presidents spoke and acted. He argued that the president should be a steward of the people, not a passive referee, but an active protector of general welfare. Roosevelt used the bully pulpit to shape public opinion and took on monopolies and conservation with executive authority. The president, he believed, could set national priorities: regulatory, moral, and environmental. Woodrow Wilson took the presidency into global ideas, championing a world order through American leadership. But it was Franklin D. Roosevelt who sealed the modern presidency. FDR's response to the Great Depression inaugurated the administrative state. Federal agencies, programs, and executive action at scale. His New Deal remade the relationship between citizen and government. Then, WWII expanded the executive into full wartime mobilization. Weapons, industry, and an allied globe were coordinated through the White House. A president could now plan economies, manage social programs, and lead nations in war. The scale of executive responsibility had shifted from domestic manager to architect of modern life. Television brought the Oval Office into living rooms. Image and rhetoric now mattered as much as policy. John F. Kennedy's youthful charisma changed expectations. Presidents could inspire not only legislatures, but hearts. But the Cold War demanded more than inspiration. The Cuban Missile Crisis tested crisis management at the highest stakes: nuclear brinkmanship. A president's calm voice and measured judgment mattered in new, terrifying ways. Vietnam and Watergate exposed the danger of unchecked power. The idea of the imperial presidency, a White House operating beyond law and away from democratic scrutiny, became a public fear. Richard Nixon's abuses led to a national reckoning and reforms to restore balance. The presidency could not be untethered from accountability without costing the republic itself. Scene 3. The global communicator, Reagan to Obama. Later presidents learned to wield global communication to command markets, alliances, and narratives. Ronald Reagan used rhetoric to accelerate geopolitical change. Barack Obama harnessed new media to mobilize millions. Leadership became as much about storytelling and soft power as military might. Lincoln faced national dissolution. FDR faced economic collapse. Both reached deep into constitutional ambiguity to act, but each anchored power in moral clarity and public accountability. The lesson: crisis widens executive authority, but legitimacy depends on purpose and persuasion. Power without transparency invites corruption. Nixon's downfall showed how secrecy corrodes the presidency's moral capital. Accountability systems survive only when citizens demand them. Today, a president faces a world where information travels faster than counsel. Crises erupt on screens, and expect immediate response. The presidency must now balance speed with wisdom, immediacy with deliberation. Leadership is not only about making decisions, it is about shaping the story that follows. Power is a shape we keep remaking. The presidency is neither immutable nor monolithic. From Washington's restraint to the modern executive's reach, the office has mirrored our hopes and faults. The question now is not whether the presidency will change again. It will. The question is whether we as a people will shape that change with wisdom, protecting liberty while meeting the demands of our age. The presidency can inspire or it can intimidate. It can heal or it can harm. It remains, as always, what we make of it. This is the story of power in American life, an unfinished history written in decisions, risks, regrets, and courage. If you love this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to get S4D.